In this week's tick list, we'll be talking about Kate Callahan and Laura Pinault's ascent of the Yosemite Triple Crown and Billy Ridal's rapid repeat of Rhapsody up in Scotland. Kate Callahan and Laura Pinault have completed the Yosemite Triple Crown in a time of 23 hours, 36 minutes and 40 seconds, and in doing so have become the first all-female team to do so. The Triple Crown consists of the south face of Mount Watkins, the nose of El Capitan, and finally the regular northwest face route of Half Dome. It not only consists of 2.5 kilometers of upward movement, aka climbing, but also consists of 30 kilometers of walking and running to get in between the various features. To put this achievement into perspective, the nose of El Capitan is probably the ultimate climbing aspiration for a great many American climbers. And when they do it in standard big wall style, taking multiple days over the route. Now the nose in a day, Naiad, which is where you climb it within 24 hours, is obviously another step up from that. But you have 24 hours in which to do it. And in order to do the Triple Crown, you realistically need to get 24 hours down to 7 hours. In order to achieve this, Kate and Laura planned every single detail. Not only the moves they were going to make, but also the individual pieces of gear they were going to place along the way. And they also had the backup of a 15-person support team who were also shuttling gear, providing water and giving them extra food and top-ups of energy and psych when they needed it most. Now it's worth highlighting that this isn't free climbing. There is free climbing involved as and where is quicker, but ultimately the aim is speed. And in order to achieve this, you've got to use a lot of different techniques, including things like short fixing, simul climbing, and the use of things like microtractions. And if you don't understand any of that, don't try it at home. Kate and Laura also adopted a highly scientific approach, and when we interviewed them about this, here's what they had to say. We basically trained like ultra runners who got lost and ended up on a wall. Sleep and recovery were our biggest data obsessions. After every big wall, we would stare at our watches like stockbrokers on caffeine, tracking how long it took to bounce back. Usually 2 rest days did the trick. Sometimes we needed 3, because crack climbing will wreck your soul and your forearms. When we asked them what it was like to finish, their answer was something a little unexpected. We topped out of Half Dome, seeing no one waiting for us. Turns out our videographers could not go down the static ropes because of an incoming storm. We saw lightning in the distance and then found out the static was so intense tourists' hair was standing on end. Our friends told us to ditch our metal gear and helped us descend fast. We were in a total post-send euphoria, blissfully unaware we were basically in a human toaster. I'll never forget the intensity and the love that got us down safely. Billy Ridal has made the 8th ascent of Dave McLeod's E11 Rhapsody at Dumbarton Rock in Scotland. Now, ordinarily we wouldn't repeat on an 8th ascent. That's quite a lot of ascents. But with Billy, there's something extra special about this, and that's because of the incredible couple of years that he's had. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that Billy has become one of Britain's best all-rounders, with his ascent of the Nose with Alex Waterhouse being a particularly just outrageous example of the skill set he has. In addition to that, climbing the Big Island, the Font 8C, was another incredible achievement. And again, having the ability to climb both a big wall and a really difficult little one requires both strength and endurance alike, and the two are difficult to combine. Another thing I've always liked about Billy is that every Christmas when I go up to Stanage to climb Christmas Crack, he is there with his dad climbing it. He's just the real deal. We asked Billy about what Rhapsody meant to him, and here's what he had to say. I actually feel quite connected with the route. Dave made the first ascent back in 2006, which is the year I started climbing. I watched the film E11 not long after, and it had a big impact on 9-year-old me. Of course, back then I had no plans to do it, but it's been a source of inspiration ever since. Billy made rapid progress on the route early on and decided to make a lead attempt. where he eventually fell off on some of the final moves, taking the monster lob in the process. Billy described the head walls as being possible to split into two halves. The first all open-handed and 11 moves in total. The second all on crimps, also 11 moves. Now, despite the second set being incredibly difficult, he said it was usually something that he could crank on through. So it wasn't long before he got back on lead again. However, the second trip didn't quite go to plan, as far as he attempted it and proceeded to take another fall, snapping the wire in the process. Several attempts later, he made it to the top after taking some pretty significant amounts of airtime. So with Billy having now climbed E11, the nose, which transcends grades, font 8C, there's definitely a French 9A out there waiting for him.